Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Oliver. How's it going?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Oh, Oliver, I'll drop you an email. I was going to invite you along to the end user council we have on November 19th.
Pardon?
So I was saying I'll drop you an email to invite you to the end user council meeting we're going to have in November. But I think, yeah, there's a good group gathering there just to talk about developer experience and productivity and other factors for their internal kind of CI/CD setup.
Okay.
And yeah, just feel free to forward it to anyone else at SAP
Okay,
who wants to come along.
Yeah, we'll do so.
Hey, Tracy. Can't hear you.
I've had meetings since 7 this morning, and I didn't get up until 6:50. So I'm kind of looking like I just woke up.
Look great. You keep reminding me I need to get a CDF hoodie. I had one and I left it in somewhere in Portugal.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know. I love that thing. Hey, Christy. Hey, David. Hey, Patty.
Hey. So it took some time for me to join the meeting. Zoom was like acting strange, so I don't know. Maybe something is wrong.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of random weirdness with Zoom, and I think they keep changing various settings. But it seems to affect different folks differently.
All my virtual backgrounds are gone this morning. There are no documents.
So while we wait, if we can put names to the, the HackMD document where I will put the link to chat if I can find the chat window. So we have a light agenda today. Talking about the CDCon, which happened last week, and then the white paper topics, 2 of them. I suppose we are approaching to having something there to start talking about setting up some kind of time plan. And then I've seen few updates since the previous meeting. Captain folks added some a case study from one of the companies using Captain, and I've seen Ericsson case study there. So we have case studies, which is good. And then we can discuss some other topics if anyone has anything to add. But before we start with the agenda, maybe Oliver, you joined us today. So you want to introduce yourself if any of us missed your message on Slack?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my name is Oliver Nockhorn. I'm with SAP based in Germany, Waldorf, the German headquarter. I've been with the company for almost 20 years now, working in various roles, and now I'm in a central department, which is basically working and driving the SAP internal CI/CD strategy, or I would rather say CD strategy.
Yeah, CI/CD is.
I love it.
It's happening, Tracy. So welcome, Oliver. Thanks for joining. It's great to have you with us. So I don't know, do we have anyone else? Because Johannes Siebel, he also joined during the week, but I don't see him in the meeting. So he is working for a German insurance company, according to what he wrote on Slack. So let's see. Whenever he joins, we ask him as well. And the agenda, the first topic is action item review as usual. And the first action item was on Tracy, Miranda, on you, and I've seen you already included the link to HackMD document for the Birds of a Feather session. So thanks for that. You can close that item. And the next action item was on Christy and Cameron about moving the current the work from the white paper, the definitions work from white paper, white paper to CI/CD definitions document. And I've seen Cameron or Christy, you did some updates, I guess.
I think Cameron did all. Sorry, I think Cameron did all the hard work. It looks like I was just going through the comments to make sure. I think they're all. Looks like they're all moved over. So I think that we could safely delete the section in the interoperability white paper and just put linked. There's already a link to the other doc, so I think we could delete the. I'm even gonna hit. I'm gonna hit the delete button right now if nobody objects, because I think everything's been moved over to the other doc.
Yeah, but what we agreed during the meeting, like a month ago or something, we will take the existing definitions from the document Tracy Reagan shared, like from top definitions, to have something there. And while you work on the definitions white paper, if something comes out from that work, then we can replace those things and refer back to that paper. So because we don't know who may see this white paper, they may need some kind of quick intro to the terms. So we can delete these things. Yeah, I leave it to you, Christy, then. Like if you delete the bodies of these headings, you can replace them with whatever you find from the other documents.
Sounds good. Any objection to removing the continuous integration section? I'm thinking that maybe in this section we could just, because it starts off with what are we discussing in CI/CD. So maybe if we just had a sentence or two that just kind of says like what the acronym means, but then we define, and then we put in the definition of CD, and we don't really go into CI, and we don't go into continuous deployment. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
I already changed the heading of the chapter. What are we discussing with continuous?
Oh, perfect. That's even simpler.
Yeah. So we already start with the next topic. So it's great. We can continue talking. So then, yeah, and based on the conversation on the other document, Christy, like I think you or Tracy, one of you or both of you said like CI can be considered as one important factor within continuous delivery. So we can, again, do it like that here and put an acronym and explain this like it's part of continuous delivery. In order for you to have continuous delivery, you need to have like continuous integration type of, summary. So I am replacing all the CI/CD things here then to be up to date with the latest terminology. Okay. What about the intro? Should we just talk about continuous delivery there as well, or everywhere in the paper?
That would be my preference.
Okay.
And maybe I can share an outline of another doc which kind of sprang up from the definition. So just put that in the chat. And so something Tracy Reagan and Christy and I synced on yesterday. So this is more like a white paper that trying to be more higher level and more convince your boss or sort of buy into why this is important. So it's a very quick outline. It's looking for a nice title, first of all, but it's kind of focused on business requirements. And then it's got a section on, okay, what is continuous delivery? And we want to cover a bit of the history of how we got to where we are, go through some benefits. So, why bother? So that's the impact, and talk about organizations and process and people. And I think tie that in with a lot of the research from Accelerate. And then going into the continuous delivery practices. So this is a bad mock-up of trying to say, okay, here are all the things that make up continuous delivery. And that includes, version control and continuous integration and automated deployment and test automation and security. So it's all these practices coming together. And then connecting that to the landscape and sort of saying, okay, well, when it comes to automating these things, here's how these different category of tools connect. And then we wanted to just have some kind of case studies of folks who have become more agile or better, have better teams with continuous delivery. And then just finish with, you know, what's the Continuous Delivery Foundation doing to help move this conversation forward. So yeah, any feedback on this outline? Christy's already gone and put a whole bunch of really good points on fleshing out what the practices are and, you know, how we should separate them and what we should talk about. But I think the main thing there is to start getting to this idea of how do people grow their adoption and how do they find their starting point and then work out where they are and then what they need to do to get better.
Okay, do you intend to include this definition, or like will this be a separate document,
So
or how does it work?
Yeah, so this is going to be very high level definition of continuous delivery. We might pull in some of the definitions when we talk about the specific practices, but it's not intended to be like, I think separately we still need that glossary, which should live permanently on a CDF site, just saying, okay, here's what each of these terms mean when we're trying to have a conversation where we're all on the same page.
Okay, so
so it won't be the proper kind of definition stuff, but it will cover some stuff.
I think this is like, because like when you end up on CD Foundation website, yeah, there are some like, you know, motto like advancing towards software delivery. Some things I've forgotten the motto. It would be great to have this type of a bit more extensive, but still on a high level, you know, white paper type of thing for people to click and read and also get some case studies. That would be great, actually.
Yes. Yeah, and I love the case studies you're getting in the interoperability white paper. So maybe we I don't know how we want to balance that off, but either we could have the same ones with a different perspective or try to find some new ones. But I think those are pretty powerful.
Okay, so this is great. And then this, because there are like, people are ending up on this document and there are lots of conversations here. So this will continue on this document.
Yeah, and I think this
yeah.
needs to come out into some sort of glossary. Yeah. And we were talked about spinning up a different group to discuss some of these things, but I'm coming around to the idea we should just have these conversations in the technical oversight committee.
Okay, so we have 3 links now. Okay, that's, I think we are producing useful stuff. At least that's what I feel. But yeah.
Yeah, I think at CDCon it was pretty obvious. There's lots of folks coming in who want a starting point, and first they want to know what it's all about, and then I think the next thing is they want to know why everything's different with cloud native, and I don't think we've done a good job spelling that out for folks who aren't in it day in, day out.
Yeah, maybe you want to continue, Tracy, with some recap reflection from CDCon, like more like what you heard and like how it is going.
Yeah, I can give a high level, but I'd love to hear from folks and the different BOFs. But just as a high level, yeah, I think we were pretty happy just having our first event online. We felt the community really came together. People seem to love the interactive sessions the most. Those were some of the most popular ones. I think Jenkins XBOF did really well. Some of the Tecton talks were, I think Andrea Friccioli's on cloud native pipelines was the best performing talk. We had some glitches with the platform, but I think overall pretty happy. And it kind of went well. People loved the selfie booth. And yeah, I thought it was good, and I'd love to hear other folks' experiences and how they found it for meeting folks and engaging and having good conversations.
Tracy, just a question: how many participants were there on the summit or the complete?
Yeah, so we had a total registration of 1,354, and we had about 70% of those check into the platform. About 900 folks access the platform. So we were pretty pleased with that. I think we were looking for 1,000 registrations and 50% of those to get involved. So yeah, happy with those numbers.
And do we know how many attended the keynote sessions?
Yeah, we had about 200 on the first day and about 115 on the second day.
That's good.
And 77 selfies, in case you want.
70. Just because I heard 50 as well. I wasn't sure which one was what. Yeah.
But yeah, actually, I think we have some. There will be a full report. So we've shared some updates in the member deck, which I can link here. But we're also waiting on a full report from the events team, which will be happy to circulate that with all the finalized numbers.
And are the recordings like when they will become available on YouTube?
Latest 22nd, but we'll probably start to see some this week. And just to note, and this, we did opt not to record the BOF sessions, so we don't have recordings of those. It was there was a trade-off we had to make in number of attendees versus recording, and we kind of said, let's just make sure people can participate. So we won't have BOF recordings. It was kind of a you had to be there type thing, but just for awareness, we have all the talks will be posted. So what were people's impressions who did manage to get there, and what was good and what could have been better?
I enjoyed doing the Jenkins X one. I'm not sure we were too prepared for it, but I think that probably worked in our favour slightly. So lots of people got involved, lots of questions, like countless questions. I think it was quite good. We figured out about halfway through, it's quite good for some, if you're not talking, to try and keep an eye on the chat, and then just kind of then reply, rather than replying in the chat, replying in the thing, but it's quite interactive. For the record, I didn't realise, when I first joined, I actually didn't realise other people were there. I thought it was just 3 people. So I was talking about beer and drinking in London, and then realised there's like 50 people there. So I think there was just a bit of a learning thing, but that's more of a personal stupidity more than anything else. But yeah, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was great to get involved. Unfortunately, I didn't get to attend any of the other sessions, but I'm playing catch up on those. It's good that we can watch those.
Anyone else want to add anything?
I loved it too. I was wondering if the next time we do something like that, we could have a more generic BOF. Because I think there's a lot of things we could talk about that's, it's not necessarily Jenkins or Jenkins X or Tekton or even Spinnaker. It's kind of, there's meta stuff like, how do you do versioning, and how do you integrate your issue tracker with your ChatOps or GitOps or whatever. So it might be nice to see, have a forum to discuss things which are, in many ways, things like Jenkins X and Tekton are low level-ish. It might be nice to have a BOF that's for kind of practitioners, just to debate, what's your biggest problem in CI/CD, and what are the biggest challenges you think there are, and so on. Because we got some amazing feedback in Jenkins X. It'd be nice to have a more broader BOF to see if there's more generic problems that we're all having and struggling, and maybe people are struggling with Terraform, or whatever it is, right? So that, I think that might be nice.
I was attending the interoperability BOF with Fatih, and I think that was one of those high-level actually sessions then, where of course the focus was interoperability and nothing else. But I think that was and many new faces or new people showed up there that we haven't seen before. I'm not sure if anyone on this meeting now came from that BOF, but anyway, we got some new contacts there, and I believe that was quite successful actually. It was interesting to see other people interested in this as well.
I wanted to come to that, but it clashed with the Jenkins X.
I know. Yeah.
So actually, that's one of the points. Let's not have interop clash with any of the project stuff, because
yes, keep the high level.
That would be awesome if we could fix it.
Yeah, there was some work we could have done on the calendar. I had 2 presentations at the same time, so I told everybody I'd set my replication set to 2. But on that topic as well, another thing we didn't really leverage like we should have, and these are all, you know, lessons learned, is we could have had more chat rooms. We should have had like an Ask the Expert chat room. We could have had a speaker chat room. We could have had like a, you know, a general forum chat room. And so I think that if we use Hopin the next time, the use of the chat rooms can be kind of leverage that kind of discussion. I know at DevOps World there was a lot of stuff being talked about in one of the Ask the Experts chat rooms.
Yeah, and I also think that those chat rooms could be open then the full conference, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can watch the threads just like you would on Slack or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know if that platform thingy is the best long-term chat place. Like maybe there should be Slack channels or something that you can look
I
at
thought
last
of that
week's
too.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, or Discourse or something. But yeah.
I agree. I wonder if there was ways that we could just interface or integrate somehow a Slack channel into the chat room, because then it could live on. So we would have in our existing chat Slack, we could have a CDCon, you know, area, and then have stuff under that.
Yep.
I think
That's how-
integrating Slack some way would be a very interesting thing for the Hopin or whatever it's called people to do.
Oh yeah, let's ask for that. Yeah, I think the KubeCon folks, they promote having all the discussions in Slack, so they'll have the videos, and then they discourage people from chatting in the conference, and they try to funnel them to channels. I guess we could have done that as a way to hold on to people interested in the conversations and have them stick around long term, or just stay engaged with the discussion. I like that.
I guess just one drawback with that would of course be that you need to register in 2 different platforms then, if you're not already on the CDF chat room, or sorry, Slack channel.
Yeah. So on the James Harkin, you brought up the topics. Do you think it would work well as like we'd have a general, hey, let's just discuss any issues, or do you think it would be better to kind of say, okay, now we're discussing version control, now we're discussing configuration management, now we're discussing security? How do you think it would be best to structure it?
That's a good question. I guess I was wondering almost like a user forum or something like that, where anybody who's doing CI/CD could just bring up things they think are interesting, gaps they feel, pain points. Because I'm not sure how many people would say, hey, I know lots of people love security, but I'm not sure I'd want to sit through an hour of just security, for example.
Okay.
I don't wish
and
to denigrate security.
With security.
But you know what I mean? I think like a user forum thing where it's not necessarily interoperable, it's not necessarily a specific CI/CD tech. It's more, you know, bring your user stories to the forum, and we could maybe have some kind of content to give people a clue as to what we might talk about. Like, what's your biggest success? What's your biggest issue, problem, or whatever? You know, what are you really missing from the technology and UX perspective, or something like that, just to get people chatting about, you know, kind of fellow users talking to each other. Which I think is always
so. Oh, actually, I'm gonna segue just into Patty. I'm gonna stick a link to there's an end user council that we are also spinning up at. Yeah, I just put it in the chat, so if you want to link to that. Okay. So there was one of the keynotes, which was John Mark Walker of Capital One having the discussion with Art Butler and Yasmin Blanton, both in financial services. And that's something we kind of want to do at CDF with folks who are end users. So have topic-based, like, how do you improve your developer productivity? What's the developer experience? How are you measuring success? And just have folks come together and just have those conversations in just in an open way, sharing what they're able to share and talking about pain points. So that might be kind of one angle, but I think we wanted to start off with the meeting and then work out what kind of forum to move that into. Is that Discourse or Slack, or where can these questions live long term so people can know where to go to just ask for those. But yeah, I'll reach out to folks here to just invite you to that, those who can attend, and yeah, I think that would be really nice.
Okay, everything I heard was positive, so which is great for a first conference, and in 2020 virtual, like I think it was like great given the circumstances, you know. Yeah. Okay, thanks Tracy and everyone
just to
else
finish,
yeah.
we have started planning for the next one, so that will be June, big CDCon. It is going to be virtual, probably use Hopin again, but the big questions we're asking now are just, do we want to have a distinct North America and EMEA, Europe and wider area, so 2 different time zone versions? And then the other thing is we're thinking about having a day before the conference to be more contributor summit for each project, so they can have a very focused chance to welcome new people, get them committing, and get them kind of onboarded into the project. So let me know any feedback or thoughts you have on that, in addition to what you've already mentioned.
All sounds great. I like the idea of 2 time zones as well. I can imagine lots of people struggling with 1 time zone, and I think some of us could make both, maybe, or some of the talks in both.
Yeah.
In the programming committee, and like everyone with Jackie and all the LF stuff. So the next topic.
Oh, I think was somebody else talking there for a second? I think somebody maybe got cut off. I just wanted to check.
Oh, it was me, Emil.
Okay.
You hear me? Yeah. No, I was just saying that in our BOF, in the interoperability BOF, I believe we had also some people from Asia joining. And obviously it was very, very late for them at the time of the BOF. And as you said, if we would have different time zones, that would of course benefit other people from around the globe to come as well, not just Europe and North America. And I was thinking if it would be possible actually to kind of repeat some of the sessions in 2 different time zones and keep the event open for a longer period of time somehow, or
yeah,
that's just,
I think repeating.
It's hard for the presenters, of course, to be there and take discussions on both occasions, maybe.
No, I mean, I was that same day. I was also flipping back and forth because I was presenting in the Sumo Logic conference, and I was expected to be there at 12:45 p.m. Mountain Time and 9:45 p.m. Mountain Time because they were doing a rebroadcast later in the evening. And I mean, it's a little inconvenient, but if you're presenting, you know, I mean, that was told to me well up front, right? So I could plan for it.
Okay, so that's interesting. So they repeated the same talks and just gave you, here's the times you want to show up to answer questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So now moving to next topic, white paper. So when we start this work around August or during summer, like we didn't really put any, you know, time plan about when we should have the first draft available, when we should reach out to CD Foundation stuff for some editorial support and so on. But I think after seeing the discussions and having some kind of structure in place, and like I think we have 4 or 5 case studies here, maybe we can start, you know, talking about some time plan, and based on what Tracy, you think from like overall CDF planning perspective. So we can tell everyone, this is the time we plan to send this draft, and then everyone can come and finalize their contributions. So what do you think, Tracy?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can just check in with the creative folks who format it and edit and make it all nice and just give you some dates, and then maybe we can just work backwards and sort of put out some, okay, last draft by here, reviews, and this is the date we'll go live.
Okay, can I can action you with some kind of proposed timeline then, Tracy?
Yes,
is that
you
right?
can indeed.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, that's done. And the next topic is simply, again, the white paper. And as I noted in the beginning, we have some contributions from Captain and Ericsson. I don't see Andreas or anyone else from Captain here. But yeah, if you can look at their case study, they put a case study based on a company called Amasol from Europe and India. So please take a look at it and, you know, comment back there.
Who was doing the Jenkins X and Tecton? Was that?
Yeah, I was going to say that Kara, actually, I just talked with Kara before joining the meeting, and I warned her that I will action her. And James, I think you also promised to
just added the reply. There is a reason. the case study will be a lot better probably within, well, the next week or two. James on the call there is currently in the process of moving all of Jenkins X's own pipelines over to vanilla Tecton, and so the reason is we could have done this case story, but wouldn't be relevant. We're madly getting the version 3 out at the moment, so I promise it'll be done by the next time.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Great. So Zul, yeah.
Sorry, just a quick question. Do you think that case study would include like the catalog stuff you're looking at? The integration with?
Yeah.
For Zul stuff, again, I have some kind of guess about which company case study may appear here, but I'm not going to spoil that. I think Open Infra Summit is happening next week, if I am not mistaken. So week after next, we can ask Jeremy to bring that here as well. So we have some coverage from OpenStack Foundation as well. And Dave's case study has been here for a while, so I hope you had a chance to look at his contribution. Thanks again, Dave, for that. And then Emil, you want to talk about Ericsson?
Yeah, we just studied a quite short user study there. From Ericsson perspective, our journey has been in the interop session. And it's, if you read it, you will see that it's, we have produced this event protocol, the IFL protocol that we use quite extensively now within Ericsson, and we look forward to taking part in developing a standardized event protocol for interoperability in larger scale. So this mostly lays the base foundation for that.
Thanks, Emil. So please, everyone, review the contribution. And now, Oliver, I don't want to ambush you, but since one of the messages you sent on Slack, like you want to share your experience and so on, I'm wondering if you have any, story to contribute to the white paper from SAP.
Yeah, I need to make up my mind.
Okay.
What we can contribute. We do have an open source project as well, where we base a lot of our activities on. Therefore, I will make up my mind.
Okay, yeah.
Where this may fit.
Yeah, you don't have to promise anything, just to, because it would make it better, if we have, again, as discussed before, having different industries, different sized companies or communities contributing case studies would make it even better for others to see they are not alone in this journey, and they can come and contribute and collaborate within Continuous Data Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. I will have a look.
Thanks. Tracy, you mentioned, again, I've forgotten some fintech last time when we discussed. Any news?
Yeah, I'll follow up again, just post CDF, but I'll try the folks Capital One or Fidelity and see if anyone bites.
And again, we discussed based on this, the other document you shared, this one. If some of the case studies, like they don't talk about interoperability, they are candidates for this paper, if they are talking about general continuous delivery, then they can be moved here and then. Okay. Future and conclusion. Again, the roadmap we have, thanks to Tracy, you started it. We can put some of the, future-looking statement under these chapters to give some, idea about where we are heading to readers. All this interop standardization, which was like discussed during the CDCon as well. Like, do we need some standardization in this space? If so, how we can do it, even though CDF is not a standards body, which could perhaps help us to reach out to standards bodies as well.
Yeah, like I think we can have that conversation. For the purpose of the white paper, I'd keep it pretty simple. Conclusion is interoperability is important and will be better for everybody, and the future can just be join the interoperability group because we're trying to make it happen. But yeah, I wouldn't overpromise on anything, but I'd love to have actually that conversation now about what, like, let's get the white paper done, but what are the next practical steps we could be doing to actually move or change things.
Yep. So that was all for white paper topic. Anyone wants to, share their opinion? Maybe James Strachan, because I think you joined our meeting first time today. Any feedback on this?
I can't think of anything right now. No, it's all looking good.
Okay, good. Okay, the other thing I want to mention is there is this industry workshop happening. I don't know if any of you heard this ICST, like IEEE, what was the International Conference on Software Testing, Verification and Validation. This is happening, and it was originally planned for before summer. I think they postponed it to next week, and it is partly virtual. And within that conference, there are multiple workshops, and one of them is called CI/CD Industry Workshop. And when this was planned first time, I submitted the proposal and it got accepted at that time. And they came back this week saying this is happening. So I will go and talk about interoperability there. And there are some other talks there. It is on Saturday next week. So if you have nothing else to do for your weekend, this could be something you can come and take part in the conversations. So I will put the link to the chat and also to meeting minutes, because I will talk about CDF there as well.
Yep, no, that's awesome. I'll highlight that to the team here. We can help promote that and just highlight your speaking at it.
And some academia will be there as well, so it is also good to hear their opinions about this space. And that was all we had in the agenda. Anyone wants to add anything else?
Yeah, well, this whole idea of looking ahead and, kind of, are they low-hanging fruit we can do more on the technical side that we should be steering people to kind of talk about or get together. And I know there's stuff going on the event side, but I was curious if anybody here has some thoughts or some kind of more urgent things or low-hanging fruit that we could tackle. James Strachan, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know we've discussed some things. Permission to ramble.
My head's still totally in all the things we've talked about today, and getting, for example, Technology Execs Interop and the catalog sorted. maybe in a couple of calls time, I'll think of something more higher level or wackier.
Yeah.
Unless you could remind me of stuff we've talked about in the past.
The one thing that I think sticks in my head was the standardized metadata for testing formats, like either JUnit, S, or
yeah, well done. Yeah, that
one. Just go do that.
Yeah, I guess this goes with it's a little bit like the Ericsson comment on the events interchange and stuff, but certainly I think test results interop. Like we have test grid in the Kubernetes infra project for visualizing test results. And we've never really tackled that as an industry. And we're all using JUnit XML, which is a reasonable thing to use for now, but test results interop will be great. And I think metadata about, we've had various discussions with Spinnaker folks over the years of, should we have a canonical data format for, like, what does a release look like? What does a changelog look like? I'm talking about like metadata, like how can we have a canonical blob of YAML for a release with where the changelog is and the git tag and the git URL and what artifacts are included in the release, and is it on GitHub or not, or is it on GitLab or not, and has it got Helm charts inside? Has it got binaries? So I think there's a whole metadata topic that we could pick something, whether it's releases, test results, reporting, who approved what, where. I guess we need to be careful of just replicating the GraphQL API of github.com. But I think there's certainly some low-hanging fruits in the middle. Like, can we have metadata about what a release is and what test results are? I think that would be good. There's parts of the. So, go on.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting, because that's exactly what we use our events for in Ericsson. We use them for interoperability for test results and for releases and for artifacts and all these kinds of things. So that's very, very interesting to be part of.
Yeah.
And of course, we could have that in the events in CI/CD work stream, or we could have it in a separate one. That's fine as well. Because it doesn't need to end up in events, of course, even though that's how we have done it so far. But I'm very interested in discussing that further as well. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, in Jenkins X, we decided we wanted to make a CRD and for the release with just, what are the pull requests that were merged? What are the issues that were fixed? What's the git commit tag and share and all those kind of things? So we just made one up. It'd be kind of nice if the CDF could come up with a definition. And this could just be a blob of YAML, right, with a schema. It doesn't have to depend on, using Kafka or using Git or using a CRD. It could just be a file format, right, that we all can write tools to consume and to generate. And we could have a Tecton generator and a Jenkins X generator. I mean, that could be the same thing, but you know what I mean? We could have a Jenkins generator. People could generate them by hand. We could have a schema to verify that metadata is valid, and so on and so forth. So I think starting simple and small, and then eventually it can become an event stream. But how you consume these things could be file system, CRD, events, database, anything. But I think that would be really useful to try and raise the abstraction level a bit.
And Cameron, from the Spinnaker side, do you think that would be interest, or somewhere we could kind of get the input of what Spinnaker already does and what you think of this?
Yeah, sorry, anything in particular you wanted thoughts on?
Just,
or,
just kind of the format for reporting releases and test data.
Totally. I don't have any thoughts on the top of my head about reporting test data. Normally, we don't do too much testing from what I've seen in our CD pipelines. A lot of that happens as part of the CI build systems. We're trying to push people towards, it's not too many people are there yet, but I think we do see a lot of value in like canary deploys. We do see a lot of people wanting to get to just put it in production and see how it compares to previous versions. but yes, I would be interested in a standard format for testing that could even relate to the events working group that we talked about in the BOF session at the interoperability BOF session at CDCon. Yeah, I feel like there could be some overlap there. That could be good to talk about.
Yeah, I like the idea, James, about collecting the information of a release together. What we today do is just dump the documents into a bucket, right, and extract what we need from there. But having some metadata around would be very helpful.
But I'm sure once we get started, we could think of, for example, should we have a generic, if you are using Kubernetes, should we have a generic annotation with a URL to where this metadata is? Or should we have a standard label in the Helm chart or something, or a container image label or something? In other words, should we have a canonical place you could find it and you could go, oh, look, there's a CDF release metadata string in this binary Helm chart image, whatever it is, or Git repository or whatever. Just have a canonical standard place to put it so that people get used to looking for it. And if it's not there, people say, "Ooh, can I have that metadata, please?" Because even little things like, so let's say you're doing a canary deployment. What is the canary? Like, what is the change that's in there? Like, oh, there's canary 576 and there's canary 234. I don't know what they are. They're just images with random shells on them. It'd be nice if there was a canonical way of going, this has got the experimental, foo switch, and that's got the bus switch, and whatever, So there's details about the issues or the pull requests or the change log that's happened or the people who have created it or whatever it is. I think we could have a really quick win of just trying to establish some simple conventions and, simple canonical metadata that's simple and flexible, but can be really, really useful.
I think majority of these things are like implicitly within our roadmap as well. So it's like, if we can do something like this, like James, that would, help a lot to everyone. And if CDF can endorse this type of, outcome, and then it would get even more attention from the other communities, not just the communities that are part of CDF, but elsewhere.
I like that.
Okay, so how do we go with that? Like, should we have a more, focused discussion on this during our upcoming meeting to, identify, like, maybe we can call something metadata, some kind of, I don't want to call work stream, but it could be work stream as well. And while event work stream working on event type of stuff, this work stream works in parallel to events, determining some kind of metadata thing, and over time these could be converged, oh, here is the metadata thingy, here is the event thingy, and let's work together and come up with how this can be utilized within events and vice versa type of thing. I will action myself to add this as topic to next meeting.
So yeah, speaking of next meetings, and just a couple of things that I'd love to see. So like for the Jenkins X folks, if you are kind of getting to a point where you'll have something to show with the Tecton integration, it would be great to have a demo of that at this group. And I see Tracy Reagan, if you're still there, just having Ortelius in the configuration management as well, I think would be really good to just have everyone on the same page of what that can do and how that can fit in with what we're talking about. Oh, can't hear you, Tracy.
Oh, I said we'd be happy to do that. I think I smashed. I must have sit on my cord. I don't know why it's so long. It should be up here.
So Fatty, do we have some spaces in the meetings, and maybe we can get links to?
Yeah, we can definitely. Yeah, we can definitely. Let me open that. Like, if anyone wants to reserve spot right now, I can open that presentation schedule and just put tentative dates for Jenkins X Tekton here. Like Jenkins X and Tekton. And then the next one could be Ortelius. And what was it? Ortelius? Did I spell it right?
ORT, yep, you did.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, project. I can put like October 29th as tentative for both of them. And then James and Tracy, just you can update this table and postpone it for the further next meeting if you can't be, like
Okay.
ready with material.
Great.
Thanks. Okay, Tracy. Okay. Good. And then, yeah, Oliver will think about his use case from SAP that we can talk about it during next meeting. Anything else? Any other topic you want to bring up? Anyone else? Okay. Thanks for today as well. It was great. We again discussed important topics. And as usual, our next meeting will be on 29th of October, 3 p.m. UTC. Until then, I wish all of you healthy and happy life. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Fatih.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.